is not a safe job out here at all. A lot of people don't understand how dangerous of a job this is, and I'm not even talking about driving down the road. You know, there's a lot of hidden dangers in this job, in this line of work as a truck driver, that nobody thinks about when they're when they're at home on their couch and they hear a news story about a truck driver on the 5 o'clock evening news. There's a driver was killed in Texas today. A UPS driver. He was hooking up his doubles, his tandems, his double trailers, and he made a mistake when he went to get out of his truck. And mistakes happen, right? You know, and in a lot of jobs, a mistake might just mean a paper cut, you know, or whatever mistake you can think of. But most jobs, a simple mistake or a simple mislap, or a simple barrier, so to speak, in your lapse of judgment doesn't usually mean life or death. But as a truck driver, something so small can mean life or death, as it did for this driver in Texas. He went to get out of his truck to hook up the air lines to his trailer, and he forgot to set his trailer brakes. He forgot to set his tractor brakes. And when he got out, the truck started to roll away on him, and he tried to get in, tried to jump back in the truck to stop it, and he slipped somehow. They're not sure how, but he managed to fall under one of the truck tires. They didn't say which one, but it's hard to imagine either one of them would have made a difference. And he was pronounced dead at the scene. See, that's such an easy mistake to make when you're out here. You know, I mean, it's something that, you know, as a driver, you get used to checking every time you get out of the truck. But when you do something repetitively over and over again, and you know, it eventually becomes habit, well, you're more likely to make a mistake, because once it starts becoming a habit, you think less about it. And that's how a lot of things are out here on the road. But the problem with that out here on the road is most of those quote-unquote habits, if done improperly, can mean life or death. And all he did was he simply forgot. You know, see it right here. For those that aren't truck drivers, see that yellow brake right there, that yellow knob? All he did was he forgot to pull out on that knob before he got out of the truck. Because see, trucks aren't like cars. We don't have a parking brake. You know, you put the truck in neutral if it's an automatic or even a standard. You put the truck in neutral and you set your tractor brakes. And that's what keeps the truck from rolling away on you. So it becomes second nature to you. But like I said, you know, second nature, you know, a creature of habit, whatever you want to call it, that's when things become the most dangerous, because you get too comfortable, and that's when you make mistakes. And a lot of people don't realize that when they're passing us on the highway as they go to grandma's house for Thanksgiving. They don't realize the hidden dangers. You know, we're not only in danger when we're driving down the road at 70 miles an hour. It's not just a dangerous job when we're literally behind the wheel. It's a dangerous job everywhere that we're around a truck. People are killed, drivers are killed simply opening trailer doors. And what I mean by that is a load may shift in the trailer and they don't know, and they just willy-nilly open the trailer door up without thinking about caution, and there could be a 2,000-pound skid pushing against that trailer door, and then when they open it, the trailer door will just, it's got 2,000 pounds of pressure behind it. It'll just pop right open and get them right in the face and kill them. And or they get the door open and then the trailer, and then the skid falls out onto the driver. You're talking about, some of these skids weighing as much as a compact car. So thinking about a compact car falling off of one of these trailers onto onto a person's body, it's not going to end well. So you've got those situations, and that can happen so easily. A load lock inside may not have been secured properly, and it could have fallen during transit, and then you get to open the door and there's nothing holding that skid anymore. And the proper way to open a door is to open it with one hand while you stand to the side, away from the path of the swing, so to speak. And that way, if it pops open, even if something falls out, it's not going to fall out onto you. And I've had that happen before, and I was glad that I thought about it before I opened the door. But again, it's something that you don't think about after so long, because you become comfortable in your ways, and it just slips your mind. It's not anybody's fault. It just slips your mind. And like I said, there's just so many hidden dangers. There was a time I was cranking up my landing gear on my trailer. I had 46,000 pounds of what was it? What was it? Jam, basically. Yeah, like grape jam, jelly jam, whatever. And the way this place is, the way the parking lot is, when you drop your trailer, because it was a drop and hook, and when you drop your trailer on one side, well, then by the time the yard jockey picks it up, drops it in a door, and then drops the trailer on the other side of the parking lot where the loaded trailers go, your landing gear, it's different, because now your trailer is sitting higher than your fifth wheel, when on the side that you dropped it, it was actually sitting a little lower than your fifth wheel. So now you've got to crank up the landing gear, crank up the landing gear with all that weight on there. And the best thing to do in this situation is to grab the yard jockey and have him get under the trailer with his truck, with his hydraulic lifting fifth wheel, and raise the trailer and landing gear off the ground by a couple of inches to relieve the pressure, and then guesstimate a little bit and raise the landing gear up to more match the fifth wheel height on your truck, and then back under your truck, back your truck under the trailer again, and then go from there. And then that way you've relieved the pressure and the danger. But again, I wasn't thinking about it. I just, I was, but I couldn't find the yard jockey. And I didn't want to wait around for him. And I was cranking the landing gear up, putting all my weight into it, trying to get this crank to turn with all that weight. And it slipped a tooth. And it spun that crank around like a crowbar. And it spun it around so fast that a blink of an eye would completely have missed the revolution. And it came back on me and hit my forearm so hard that I couldn't move my hand. I thought I broke my arm. I could not move my hand at all. It was just, it was my right hand too, my shifting hand. And that truck was a 10-speed, so I had to shift. It wasn't a fancy old automatic. It was a standard. So I actually, said a few choice words, screamed out in pain a little bit because it really, I mean, think about a big muscular guy taking a crowbar and just whacking your arm as hard as he can with it. You know, that's what it felt like. Or whacking your arm as hard as he can with it. And it may have even been worse, I don't know. Because that's all, you know, you got 45,000 pounds of force on those, on that landing gear that caused the landing gear gears to slip. And, you know, causing them to jump a tooth, which caused the rotation of the crank. So I got into the truck and I finished my day, but I had to shift with my left hand. It's not easy to shift a 10-speed with your left hand. I mean, you can barely reach it. So I had to shift with my left hand for a while. Luckily, somehow, maybe because I'm so fat, I don't know, but maybe that was the saving grace that day, because it actually didn't break my arm. It just severely bruised it internally, but it didn't break it. But that's happened before to drivers, and they'll be down really low, and because they're putting so much weight and so much force against that landing gear crank, that it'll slip out from their grip, and it won't hit their arm, it'll hit their head and kill them. You know, there are just so many ways you can die out here, and almost all of them are simple mistakes that we make. And again, it's simply because we become too comfortable with our job, and we eventually just stop thinking about what we're doing. We stop thinking about what the safest way is to do something, and eventually it bites you in the ass. And for some of us, it's more than just simply biting you in the ass. It's deadly. So, I don't know, I just wanted to make this video as a reminder to us veteran drivers, and also as a heads up to those who aren't in the industry yet. That when you get into the industry, the worst thing you can do as a driver is become a creature of habit. That will be, well, I don't want to say will be, because you may not, but that can very well lead to a life or death situation. And it may not even be on the highway. It may not even be while you're behind the wheel. It may be while you're out, walking around your truck. And let's not forget too, at nighttime you're walking through these busy truck stops. You're walking through these receivers and shippers parking lots. You got these yard drivers hauling ass through the warehouse parking lots. You've got idiot drivers and truck stops that think they are on a NASCAR track running through the truck stop, and they don't think about somebody popping out from behind a truck or from in between two different trucks that are at the truck stop. And people have been killed that way too, because somebody's just going too fast through the truck stop. It's not the interstate. Leave her down. The rule of thumb is leave her down in low range gears. Don't grab the splitter. There's no reason to be up in the high range. But you'll have people running through these damn truck stops in 6th or 7th gear. It's just it's uncalled for, and it's dangerous, and it's deadly. So guys, keep that in mind as a reminder and as a heads up. But I'm right here in Pennsylvania. I forget the name of the town I'm in. Exit 256 at the Pilot. And I was just reading about that death, and it just kind of figured I needed to make some sort of video as a, just to say, prayers and thoughts are with him and his family, of course, but to also point it out as a lesson. Don't get comfortable with what you do, because it will, in some way, it may not be deadly, but in some way it'll bite you in your ass eventually. Mark my words. All right, guys. We'll see you. Be safe.